from the campus of San Jose State University. Welcome to this edition of Equal Time. I'm your host, Journalism School Director Bob Rucker. San Jose is considered to be not only the well-heeled capital of Silicon Valley, it's also home to some men who wear heels. It's a popular place for drag queens.
People like seeing things categorized and put into boxes instead of getting put into 7 layers of tights and then getting in high heels.
We'll explore the life of men who perform in wigs and makeup on this edition of Equal Time. Drag performing, an art form that was once not accepted, has risen to become more popular than ever. Correspondent Justin San Diego explores drag, pageantry, and safety.
If I have an incredible ballot and I can come out with my jewels and my gowns and have everyone's breath been taken away just because I stepped out, I love that.
Anthony Micheli, also known as Alina Maleti Galore, started performing in drag in 1992.
Alina is my Wonder Woman. As a young person, I didn't always feel handsome or beautiful, so that's the positive. She makes me feel beautiful. Drag queens or performers, we get up on the stage and we perform for you and we take off the makeup at the end of the show. It's an artistic job, it's an artistic way of expressing yourself.
In between shows at local clubs, Micheli competes in drag pageants.
You have interview, talent, gown, and on-stage question for most of them. But Miss Continental is about beauty, poise, womanly. Miss Gay America is just like Miss America. You have the different facets, interview, talent, presentation. Miss Gay US of A is about outstanding performance, gown, and interview.
He has also competed for Entertainer of the Year.
And then EOY is about how inventive you are. You travel for a year, so there's financial reward as far as that is concerned. You get lots of gifts and prizes and things. But then there's the accomplishment.
Micheli has utilized his platform to raise awareness and money for charities.
My mom died 4 years ago, and I did awareness about dementia and Alzheimer's. One year we didn't have enough money for Gay Pride, so they called all of the drag queens together and asked us to perform on the street of Stockton. And we raised so much money for Gay Pride.
The Bay Area has become more accepting of drag since Micheli started back in 1992.
Back then, you still didn't want to see drag queens walking on the street at nighttime, so why would you want to see them in the daytime? And we did our own little parade, and we walked up and down the streets and did a show for them, and it was dangerous for us at that time. It's changed to the point that there used to be where you had to be beautiful, and that was all that was accepted. Then it went to us when you had to be talented, and that was all that was accepted. And then you could be a comedy queen, or we're living in a lifetime now where everything is accepted as long as you don't harm anybody.
Micheli says he has helped many young adults get into drag, adding them into his drag house or drag family.
I have almost 50 children. The drag family is about making sure that everyone is protected and taken care of. You had to be in school or on your way to graduating and have a job, because you cannot help anyone else if you cannot help yourself. So being a part of my family meant you had to be able to someday help others.
When we come back, we'll take a look at how drag has evolved over time. Welcome back. We've seen how some men have experienced San Jose drag. Now we'll take a look at the future of drag performing and how it has expanded to include different styles.
George Downs, who goes by the drag name Woo Woo Monroe, has an aesthetic opposite of Micheli. Rather than appearing womanly, Downs tries for a comedic and artistic style.
This is all the foundation work that I do. So foundation, highlighting, contouring.
Other drag queens have their own makeup tips.
I wear four pairs of lashes on each eye. I love just big, thick lashes. I love a dark lip. I love lots of blush.
In my first year, I probably spent well over $1,500 to $2,000 on makeup and wigs.
Many drag queens say the Bay Area is safe and has more opportunities for them.
It's so easy living in the Bay Area to 5 minutes down the road there's a drag show, whereas like in college I had to travel an hour.
I'm actually a deputy sheriff in San Francisco. I'm very aware of my surroundings. I notice when people are following me.
Nick Nelson, or Madison McQueen, started his drag career at his college in South Dakota 6 years ago.
It was like my first night out. I looked like a complete train wreck, and I went into one of the bars, one of like the very straight bars in my college town. Got turned down, which is totally cool. Walked out and had a drink thrown at me. Thankfully, I was wearing three wigs at the time, so it didn't hurt too bad.
Some drag queens struggle getting acceptance from their friends and family.
I can't do drag at home is the thing, so I have to bring all my stuff and have to go out and either get ready at someone's house or get ready at the venue. Some people at the place that I live with just don't understand it, or it scares them physically. There's just something about breaking gender norms that people don't get, or makes people uncomfortable. People like seeing things categorized and put into boxes instead of getting put into 7 layers of tights and then getting in high heels.
This is my mother's biggest issues, that she thought that I was going to become a woman. I'm like, no, Mom, I'm fine being a man. My mother is a staunch Republican. Funny enough, she said, you know, I might even have some clothes I could give you. I'm like, no, Mom, you don't have any clothes that you could give me that I would wear.
Not all drag queens are biologically male.
A folk queen is a person who lives as a woman and performs as a man dressed as a woman.
And some drag involves dressing up like men.
Well, a drag king is a woman who dresses up as a man and performs lip syncs.
Out of drag, Goldstein and Young are in a relationship together. They have used their drag for charity, as well as to celebrate Goldstein's sobriety.
When I turned 5 years sober and 40 years old, I asked if I could be in the sober show. Probably 95% of what I do is about charity work. We specifically, Mad Dog and I, raise money for the Queer Life Space, which is an LGBT counseling organization. We also raise money for AIDS Life Cycle, of course. I wrote in that.
Twice a month, Downs hosts a show called Circus at Renegades Bar.
I wanted to bring a show to San Jose that featured performers that were out of the norm, that could think out of the box and be creative and not do just cookie cutter drag. Being able to take a song and not take it for its face value, but use the words that are in it and come up with a different meaning for them. And I was actually in a pageant last year and won the title of Miss California Gold. I think it was the first time they've ever had a bald queen win a pageant like that.
Downs says the increase of campy drag has helped expand the drag community.
In the Bay Area particularly, I think some of these other drag queens that are more avant-garde have really pushed the envelope of what's acceptable in the drag community. And I think that is the biggest growth that I've seen since I started doing drag. If I can make somebody smile or make somebody laugh or make somebody think, you know, that's worth it to me.
Now, when we come back, we will sit down with 3 drag queens who have very different styles and a young fan of drag. Stay with us. Well, welcome back to this edition of Equal Time, where our focus today is on the drag queen culture. Let's meet our guests.
Hi, my name is George Downs. My stage name is Woo Woo Monroe, and I've been performing drag for the last 3.5 years here in San Jose, and I host a show twice a month.
Hi, my name is Rakam Sakura. My boy name is Brian Bradford. I'm a local anime J-pop sort of nerdy queen in this area, and I've been performing drag for almost 1.5 years.
Hi, my name is Sophie Scribbins. I live in San Jose and I was born and raised here, and I attend a lot of drag shows in the Bay Area.
Hi, my name is Tony Michelli. I go by the name Alina Milady Galore, and I've been performing for 18 years. I'm the old queen.
And I'm Justin San Diego, and I'll be the correspondent on this episode.
Very good. Thank you all for being here and sharing your thoughts. You know, I'm curious about this. A lot of the public is looking at this now going, how did they get into this? What drove you and what drew you to the drag queen culture? I'll start with you, George.
It's, amazingly enough, it was an accident. I went to a party kind of with crazy costumes, and I wore some pink eyelashes and painted my goatee pink and wore a pink tutu and had a blast, and kept blossoming from there, and friends kept inviting my drag persona to parties, and I wound up at a party one time, and the club promoter came up to me and he said, "You have to come perform at my club," and I was like, "Okay, I guess I will."
Very cool. And Tony,
So,
your situation probably the same thing.
No, mine was I wanted to compete in pageants.
Oh, really?
The one thing that I had in common with my mom was that we loved watching Miss USA and Miss Universe and Miss America. And I always wanted to be Miss USA, Miss Universe, or Miss America. Didn't, but you have to be a girl. So I found out there was Miss Gay America, Miss Gay USA, and Miss Gay Universe. And I went on to compete in pageants. And so I loved competing in pageants, and that's how it started for me.
Very cool. Self-confidence seems to be the key of the energy I'm sensing from all of you. Talk a little bit about that, Brian.
Well, I mean, you have to be really confident in the drag community in order to confidently come out in like a pair of heels and like 70 pounds of makeup and to look like you're doing something that's like difficult. For a lot of us, that kind of confidence comes naturally, and it's kind of something that draws us to the stage and kind of makes us want to perform every time, at least for me personally.
Very cool, though. That's all right. Sophia, I started to go out and see drag queens when I was in high school and college, and I enjoyed it. A lot of my friends, a lot of the community came out. Yeah, tell us about your experience.
I think I first got into drag with Jeffree Star when I was in like middle school on MySpace, and just kind of went from there. I found out about Tranny Shack in San Francisco, and so my big plan was when I turned 21, I wanted to go to every show, and then it's kind of changed since then. But
and you enjoy it?
No, yeah, I love it.
Very good.
And I was going to all of Peaches Christ shows in San Francisco before I was 21 because there aren't a whole lot of shows that you can go to underage, but at least I was able to attend to all of those ones.
Okay. Justin?
I just think it's one of the most underappreciated art forms. I hope one day there can be like a museum of drag queens, just because I think it should be honored at a higher level.
Tell me why.
You know, it's very multi-layered, I think. There's makeup, there's the actual stage performance, there's costumes, hair, makeup. You know, some people go into singing or acting or pageantry, and there's all different types of avenues for this art form.
Artistic expression, a major part of it. But let's talk about the social impact. You know, we've gone through periods of time, I know in my lifetime, when this could not be on television. We would not be talking about this. And now we seem to be kicking the door down talking about it.
Yes.
Why? Why do you think that is? What made that change happen?
I think that the society is ready for something different. We've always been in the background, and we come in, we go out, we come in, we go out. So if you're fortunate to be around when we're riding an up wave, then you take it for all you have. RuPaul's Drag Race, I remember when she first came out, I wasn't so happy about it, but then I'm looking at all the different avenues she's made for us, because I was under the assumption that it was going to be like reality television where you got on there and you made, I don't know if I can say this, but you made a fool of yourself. And because that's what sells. And a lot of us, I know for sure.
They've done a lot of that too. They've done a lot of creative editing with their show.
Yes. But we're serious about what we do. I'm like, we get out there, we're entertained just like everyone else. And for the Academy of Arts and Design, we would like a SAG card. Because we work just as hard as everyone else who's out here doing movies and things like that, and we're not getting paid for it. But we would like a SAG card because there's a lot of us that are female impersonators that could use the insurance and different things like that. So the mainstream that we have is that everyone is accepting of us, but I just wish that the community would treat us as an art form and pay the people.
You know, the insurance comment kind of begs the question, can it sometimes be dangerous? Can it sometimes be unsafe? Do you have people that come after you, give you a hard time? Go ahead,
I mean, in the year and a half that I've been doing drag, I haven't had any personal interactions with anyone who would be like considered like a predator or someone who is like a general like threat to my well-being. But there are people who constantly kind of badger you for like sex and things like that because people just like they don't understand the difference between drag and like fetishes or drag is fetishized a lot. Like people just don't understand and make the connection.
Social networks, social media is a really bad place. I got, someone had actually followed me on Facebook and called me, and they were from Albania, and I'm driving down my car, and he says, may I speak with Alina? And I'm like, this is Alina. And he goes, this is such and such, and I'm from here, and I'm coming to where you live to have sex with you.
They actually said
they
that.
called me, and I had to take my phone number off of Facebook. And these are things that happen. And I'm like, I'm married. I've been with my husband for 18 years. A lot of us out here aren't looking for sex. We're looking to perform and entertain. But there are a lot of people that do this as a sexual gratification, and I'm just not one of them. But
now, going back to what you were saying earlier about the whole SAG cards, now I hear a lot of queens do it as a paycheck or as a job.
Yes.
But is the pay really that good? Because I hear a lot of you guys have other jobs on top of it.
it can be.
It can, but it
Yeah,
doesn't.
it doesn't. No,
does not.
It doesn't.
No, I can travel as I compete in pageants, like stating before, and we have a thing that once you make the tape, then you get paid more. So, and I make sure I make the tape whenever I'm competing by either winning or being in that top 10. Then you get booked to go across the country and perform, and then you have a set price that you use, and they pay for you to come out. And if you do that constantly, you can make your living. However, it's hard to do that when you have a family. And it's hard to do that when you've had another job. Another job is not going to let you go away to do this. So with drag, if you want to make a living out of it, you have to be all in or not.
No
So
in between.
there can't be an in between because you will not make a living at it.
There's a lot of jobs that you can do that you go to your job for 8 hours a day and that's your job.
Yes.
And you go home and then you have a life after that. You can't do that as a full-time drag queen. If you're going to be a full-time drag queen, it's full-time 24/7.
Exactly.
Really?
That's I'm like, because you may have to do a job at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or you may have to do a job at 2 o'clock in the morning. That you have to go where the check is.
Yeah.
And the sad part of being in drag, if you do not know how to make it work, if you don't know how to franchise, like Alina Miletti is franchised as an LLC. So if you do not know how to franchise yourself, then you don't have insurance. You don't have medical insurance. You don't have. They will have a lot of drag queens that die, and they can't afford to bury themselves. So there's things that you need for health and and welfare, and that's why most of us work and we have jobs where we have benefits.
And I've always been fascinated. Sophia, I'll bring you in on this conversation. When I was in college, I could get a bunch of friends of mine, women and men, that come from the dorm or come from the community and want to check it out, and they would enjoy it. They didn't go back, though, and invite people to come with them. Do you have that problem? Do people want to join you in this? Come see them perform?
I mean, it depends. I have brought a lot of different people to shows and have convinced people to get into it, whether they liked it or not. So, I mean, it kind of depends. With a lot of like straight men, I've really tried to get them into it, like boyfriends I've had, and it's been like half and half.
Yeah.
So it really depends.
It all depends on your individual creative taste.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. Some people, it's kind of like going to see a movie. You go see the movie was nice. It's not like I'm going to go back and see that movie again.
Right.
So if we get you out there one time, our advertisement is word of mouth, honestly. So if we can get you in there one time and you enjoy it, you let somebody else know about it, then I promise you that if you tell 10 people about it, at least 2 or 3 of those people will come back, and then they'll tell someone. That's how we bring it in. Our places are not always packed out the door.
Right.
But the people that do come in and see us, they do enjoy us.
And how much of your personal life experience do you infuse in your program, in your effort? Do you tell them a little bit about your family, or do you not talk about that's off limits, or how do you describe your life?
I do.
Yeah, so do
I mean, a lot of it's funny because I work in law enforcement for my day job, which is completely opposite direction. But yeah, I joke about my regular job at my show and to my audience, and a lot of people kind of, I think that's probably what a lot of people find interesting is like, that person's a cop during the day, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
And do your buddies ever come and watch your show?
actually, I do. I have a few coworkers that come pretty regularly to my shows. I've had a lot of coworkers that have come once or twice, yeah.
Very good.
And then I have coworkers that don't
That
want
shy
anything to
away.
do with it.
Yes. Yes. The biggest thing for us, I think, with doing drag and our coworkers, I work with a lot of females, and every time they see my pictures, they're like, "Oh, you need to show who does your makeup. You need to show me how to do your makeup." And I'll tell you straight out, I know how to paint this face.
Not everybody else's.
No.
Right.
I'm like, and I could try, but I know what looks good on this one, and I do pretty good by that. I've tried painting other people. Oh my gosh, no.
So going off of that, like, what are some of the steps you guys do in transforming?
Shave.
Constantly, I would imagine. Yeah.
Hello.
Half of my face when I do drag is just glue.
Oh.
Glue down the eyebrows, glue down the sideburns, and then glue the mouth shut.
And you do this how many times a day or a week?
Since I'm relatively new, I'm fairly new, I do it like maybe at most like 3 times a week, but mostly
What kind of glue is
twice
this?
a week. Elmer's glue.
Elmer's glue.
If you ever want to just don't tell anyone. Don't. The school board will be after us. They're wondering who's taking their glue.
They're purple glue.
Yeah, you go and when all the school supplies go out, all the drag queens go and stock up on
Purple Elmer's glue.
Back to school's like our Christmas.
Yeah.
You're keeping them in business.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we want an endorsement.
And how about your families? Do you talk to them about this side of your life?
Oh my gosh, yeah. My family knows about it most definitely.
What was the reaction at the beginning when you told them, I really enjoy being a drag queen?
Well, I didn't tell him that.
Like it hurts.
With my husband is the first person I ever told the complete truth. You know, when you're dating, you don't tell someone that you're a drag queen when you're going out. I told my husband, I actually went and sat on his lap and said, this is it. You know, either you like it or you don't. I said, I'm a flight attendant and I'm a drag queen.
Wow.
If you can't deal with either one of those, then I can't be in your life.
How'd you
And we've been
react?
together 18 years.
18 years.
Yeah,
Very
so
good.
The funniest part was my son. When we had a small house, and I used to keep my drag in his closet, and my husband had went out, and he came back, and I was practicing, and my son comes in, and he goes, "Dad, Tony's got a dress on," and my husband running in, and I'm stuck there with the dress, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I guess we have to tell him that I do drag. And then he realized that it didn't make me any less of a man. It just
It's
was
something that you
I
enjoy
did.
doing.
Yeah, and it contributed to the household. So
Very good. And your families, how did they react?
Funny enough, I kind of kept it from my mother for a while. When I finally did tell her, I got a completely opposite reaction than I thought I would. She actually said, "Oh," she said, "You know, I probably have some clothes you could." I said, "No, Mom, you don't have any clothes that I could use."
I love it.
Very cool. Brian?
When I first started doing drag and my parents found out, they actually didn't like it at all. My mother would always joke about me dressing as a woman and things like that, and she would always equate things that were feminine to to being like super gay and bad. And she found out I was doing drag, and she's like, "You need to stop doing this because you look terrible." And the funny thing was, when I first started doing drag, I looked just like my mother. So joke's on her. But I also started doing. I've been in a relationship with my partner for about 8 years, and I started doing drag while in the relationship. So I transitioned into doing drag, and my partner my partner was kind of skeptical at first about it, but it was just a new side of me that just gets to come out. When you start doing drag, it's like more of your artistic presence comes out and you're able to express yourself more.
Right.
And sometimes it's kind of daunting, and people see that there's a lot more of you, and it's kind of intimidating.
I can imagine. And everyone out there in the audience knows about RuPaul and what those competitions and all that. Do they ever raise some questions? Sophia, I know I have a question about some people in the audience may not appreciate this show at all and say, hey, why are you talking about this? A lot of us don't agree with this lifestyle. Do you ever encounter people like that in the community?
Just talking about Drag Race, or?
Yeah, or just gay experience publicly or drag race?
Here and there, yeah. I mean, for the most part, like, I tend to bring it up with everyone that I talk to, just like meeting new people, just because it is a big part of my life, and so it's like either the conversation dwindles or I'll make a new friend out of it. So, I mean, I don't get really, really negative feedback usually talking about it, but some people just don't understand.
I think we're lucky to live in where we live too. I mean, living in the San Francisco Bay Area, we are really, really lucky to be surrounded by such an open like mindset of the people that we. Yeah, I mean, we couldn't do the same things we do probably in other parts of the country without hiding a lot of it.
Actually, it's not bad because I'm fortunate enough to travel throughout the country. One of the things I can say about this generation of children and people is that we're more accepting, period. So to be able to, this would not have happened 20 years ago. Now we can walk around and we can say I'm a drag queen. We can walk around and say I'm an entertainer. We can walk around and just enjoy. It's not a problem for men to wear a poncho or to have on lip gloss or have their eyebrows done, even in social settings, period. So for actually us to put on some foam here and Posturepedic there and to and to put on lip gloss and makeup, it's actually accepting because it's just our way of showing our artistic side, and people are very accepting of it now. It's just not something that we could have done 20 years ago.
We have about a minute left too, and I just wanted to drop in there. Not every gay person is into drag, but a lot of gay people like drag.
They're into it, they just don't admit it.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll tell my husband that.
Okay.
This has to be one of the most entertaining Equal Times we've ever done. So I really want to thank each and every one of you, and Justin for coming up with this story. We'll try to entertain you again. So come on back for the next edition of Equal Time.